Blessings, namaste, and happy holidays, everyone. I am Spiritualist, Psychic, Astrologer, and Medium Sette. Once again, I thank you for offering me this opportunity to share with you some of my astrological and spiritual insights. In this video, I'd like to touch upon some of the many blessings that we are being offered during this December 2020 timeframe. Today is December 12th, the 12/12 portal. In the coming weeks, we have several powerful portals opening up for us, providing us and infusing us with a tremendous amount of light energy that is originating from the heavens. December 12th, the 12/12 significance, just to give you a little bit of an insight and my understanding of it, the number 12 connects with a spiritual cycle of growth and evolution. Astrologically, that is connected to a Jupiter cycle of experience. A Jupiter cycle is 12 years. Jupiter is the planet that connects with spiritual knowing, spiritual understanding, spiritual insights, as well as higher knowing. When we have completed that 12-year cycle of experience, we've completed a major spiritual period of evolution, and then we begin the next cycle of spiritual growth and development. The number 12 connects with the 12 months of the year, the 12 signs of the zodiac, the 12 apostles. The 12/12 portal in December is the last opportunity of the year to really infuse ourselves with higher knowing. We reflect on the past 12 months of the year and prepare for the coming year, the 12/12 portal. And in this month, we also have the solar eclipse, which is taking place on December 14th, and more profoundly, on December 21st, with the winter solstice, we have the great alignment between Jupiter and Saturn. As I began to say, today is the 12/12 portal. And on this opportunity, we really begin our period of reflection of the past year and allow ourselves to begin to prepare for the coming year. Now, in my video for the month, specifically for the astrological influences of the month of December, I touched a little bit more upon the solar eclipse of December 14th. In this video, I want to address a little bit more specifically the winter solstice experience. However, on December 14th, we have a new moon total solar eclipse. Now, a solar eclipse, it's a new moon, and because it's an eclipse, it's a much more concentrated alignment of energy, and it begins a longer duration of experience. Just as a new moon begins the monthly cycle from new moon to new moon, which is about 27 3/4 days, the solar eclipse begins a longer cycle of experience, at least 3 months after, more so about 6 months, and even longer, sometimes many years. But actually, what I would like to begin with is to reflect back on what was taking place for you in March of this year. You see, the March energies, specifically the March new moon, which was on the 24th, really began this cycle of growth and evolution that we are experiencing in this year. Specifically, the opportunity for all of us to create, as I continue inspiring us to recognize, our ideal lives in whatever form that might be. And quite often, before we begin a significant cycle of experience, Spirit, the universe, will provide us and offer us the opportunity to recognize what must be released so that we may properly begin a new cycle of experience. And specifically, what was taking place in the early part of this year was a tremendous intensified release of fear. And I addressed it in my forecast earlier this year. And this was an opportunity to really recognize how the fear, as I refer to it as, interferes with our well-being, as well as delays our joy. I do have a specific video entitled Fear Which Interferes, which I address that element specifically, but I'm just touching upon a couple of things right now so that you can understand the cycle of evolution that took place during this year. And as I said, the March timeframe, it began the opportunity to release fear. But this type of fear is fear which exists very, very, very much deeply embedded within ourselves in the unconscious mind. Spirit will always offer us the opportunity to release that which no longer serves a purpose. And if we are not fully willing to recognize what Spirit is showing us, that blocks the experience and it doesn't allow Spirit to really to work with us. Remember, I've said many times, Spirit cannot interfere with our free will. And unless we have a willingness to recognize what is necessary for us to continue our experiences in a manner that will bring us great joy and fulfillment, we need to allow Spirit to really work with us, to have that willingness to be shown what is necessary so that we might achieve our goals. And that's really a big part of what's happening right now. So as I said, the March time frame, specifically with the new moon which took place at that time, and actually now that I think about it, I believe it began with the full moon at the end of February, and as well as the new moon, which intensified this experience of the release of fear. And in March, that March time frame actually began the preparation stage for, or rather the preparation period for the solar eclipse, which took place on June 21st, that coincided with the summer solstice. And what is most significant about these eclipses and these alignments is that the eclipse, the solar eclipse, which took place on June 21st, as I said, it connected with the summer solstice, which is the 0-degree point of Cancer, which is a cardinal sign. The cardinal signs begin the seasons. We have Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. Aries and Libra begin the equinox with the spring and autumn equinox. Cancer and Capricorn are the solstice points, which begin the summer and the winter solstice. The 0-degree point of an astrological sign, and now just to preface a little bit, all signs, everything astrologically is measured in degrees and minutes. A sign contains 30 degrees. One astrological sign is 30 degrees. And the earliest stages of a sign within the first few degrees, specifically, more profoundly, the 0-degree mark, that is where the greatest potential of that sign is encoded. We also understand that when an eclipse takes place at a 0-degree point, it's referred to as the world point. And that signifies, that represents that the events which are taking place are very much connected on a global scale and will have a global impact. And with that, I always address to recognize that whatever unfolds, whatever happens, if you will, in the outside world, is only a reflection of what's coming together in the collective consciousness of humanity. For example, just as whatever manifests in someone's home is a reflection of its occupants, whatever is taking place on our planet is a manifestation that is coming to form out of the collective consciousness of humanity. Now, what I addressed specifically with the June 21st total solar eclipse is that was an opportunity for everyone to set in motion the intentions and the desires for whatever it might be that you would define as your ideal existence. Now, let me explain the significance of that. And let me also address that by endeavoring to create that for yourself, it's anything but selfish. When we allow ourselves to really be in that place of joy, we are generating, we are radiating that element of joy to the outside world. I remember many years ago I was facilitating a spiritual discussion group, and one of the topics that I addressed, I said that if it brings you joy to go to a Starbucks or a coffee house and sit and have a cup of coffee, if that brings you joy, allow yourself that opportunity, because by you being in that place of joy, that's what you're radiating out to the world. That's the ripple effect that you're creating to that outside world. So that's not really very much a selfish experience to have, because yes, you are being in that place of joy. I am being in that place of joy. And when we allow ourselves to really enjoy that experience, that's what we set out and send out to the world. And what happens? We create a ripple effect. We create that wave of energy that ripples out through the all of humanity. And imagine if every one of us allowed ourselves to really be in a place of joy in every moment of every day. Certainly, I would feel joyful, and we would create that experience in the outside world. So this is why we've been offered the opportunities to really create our ideal lives, because imagine what that would feel like for you. Really experiencing a profession that is not work, that is really a joy place for you, that connects with your purpose as well as your passion. Well, I've also emphasized that whatever it is that we feel the most passionate about, that is an indication of what is our purpose. Remember, Spirit desires for us to be joyful and in a place of love while we are here. We are not intended to be in a workplace that is daunting, where we are unhappy. We are intended by Spirit to enjoy our profession. And when we allow ourselves to really recognize that passion, that very much does give an indication of what might be our personal purpose while we are in this human form. And the June 21st total solar eclipse began for us the opportunity to really plant the seeds and set that energy in motion. Now, we're at the 6-month point of that experience. So June 21st, 2020, and now on December 21st, 2020, we're at that 6-month point. Now, the winter solstice, it begins with the sign of Capricorn at 0 degrees of Capricorn. Now, what's extraordinary about that date is the outer planets of Jupiter and Saturn come together, align in perfect unison at the 0 degree point of Aquarius. Remember, as I said earlier, that 0 degree mark contains great power and great potential. There actually, every degree of a sign has a certain significance to it. That's why, astrology is so very complex, because there's a multitude of facets, aspects that are involved in all elements of astrology. Now, as I said, that 0 degree point is significant. Now, Jupiter and Saturn will come together about every 12 years, because that's the cycle of experience of Jupiter. Jupiter moves a little bit faster than Saturn, so it's going to catch up to Saturn's before Saturn actually catches up to it, if you will. So it's not unusual that for every 12 years, Jupiter and Saturn form an alignment together. And as I said, when two elements come together, it's referred to as a conjunction. It's a new moon aspect. It's the beginning of a new cycle of experience. Now, as I began to say, what's extraordinary about this alignment is that the last time that Jupiter and Saturn came together at 0 degree point, which the last time Jupiter and Saturn came together in the early stage of Aquarius was in March of 1226. And that actually at that time, they came together at 3 degrees of Aquarius. So it wasn't necessarily the 0 degree point. And what I'm emphasizing is that Jupiter and Saturn are coming together at that 0 point of Aquarius. Aquarius is the sign of the new age, the sign of awakening. It's a sign that connects with revelations, the apocalypse. And as I've said, revelations of apocalypse do not denote or connotate destruction. They indicate awakenings, revelations, revealing, to reveal. Apocalypse means to reveal. The revelations which have been taking place are of the atrocities which have controlled and kept the all of humanity in a debilitating state of suppression by the shadow forces. And as I've said, those shadow forces are not going to go down without a fight. And the more that everyone within themselves knows their light and power, always from a place of love, we begin to dissolve that energy of darkness. The winter solstice, as well as the other celebrations which take place in the month of December, such as Hanukkah and Christmas, all represent and are connected with light. The winter solstice is a return to light. As I've said on many occasions, this winter solstice specifically is a return to light like no other times of the past. And as I've said, regarding experiences coming to form in the outer world, first and foremost, we need to allow ourselves to return to that light, remember that light within ourselves, always from a place of love and humility. And once everyone individually remembers and knows that light from a place of love, then we bring that light and radiate that light out to the all of humanity. Remember, whenever we shine a spotlight, wherever there may be darkness, the darkness dissolves. As always, we must embrace these experiences from a place of love and humility and not ego, greed, or entitlement. If we generate this energy from a place of ego, greed, of entitlement, then we thwart the purpose. Remember, this is a time for every one of us to return to light. The process began earlier this year, as I said, with the solar eclipse that took place on June 21st, which provided the opportunity for us to create our ideal existence. Remember, by creating all that we choose to desire to experience, which brings us fulfillment, which brings us peace, which brings us happiness, it allows us to be in that place of joy within ourselves, which allows that light within every one of us to become very, very, very bright. The brighter our light, the stronger we become at dissolving the darkness, which that darkness is dissolving very quickly. And we are not to take the experience of this great awakening for granted. We are creating and defining what is coming next in every moment of every day, and this is a prominent turning point. As always, I have been suggesting to quiet the mind, detach yourself from the distractions and the great derailment which has been taking place in the outside world. It's very interesting that we are at these opportunities to really allow ourselves to be infused with these powerful light codes, and those forces out there are creating more derailments, distractions, and endeavoring at creating fear in every one of us. Remember, spirit as well as the shadow forces cannot override our free will. So what the dark energy endeavors upon is to plant the seeds of fear. And if every one of us allows ourselves to be in that place of fear, what are we experiencing? We are projecting that fear in the outside world. We are projecting all that we are very fearful of into the outside world, and then we inadvertently assist with the underworld in creating the disruptions and the derailments that they desire for us to experience, so that they may continue their supremacy and control. And I inspire us to remain in a place of knowing and trust that those forces are being dissolved. As I said, the winter solstice is on December 21st, and let me give you some exact times for that. The winter solstice on Monday, December 21st. The exact time of the solstice is 5:04 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now, on December 17th, a couple of days before that, we have Saturn transiting into the sign Aquarius. And then on December 19th, we have Jupiter moving into the sign of Aquarius. Now, on the winter solstice on December 21st, as I said, the exact time is 5:03, 5:04 a.m., and that's Eastern Standard Time. And on December 21st, the exact moment of that connection, alignment, conjunction with Jupiter and Saturn will take place at 1:20 and 18 seconds p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is the moment where we cast the intentions in motion to really catapult all that we began cultivating in June. These elements in the sign of Aquarius, as I said, they are ushering in the new age. They're creating a bridge. We are crossing that threshold to this time of enlightenment, oneness, brotherhood, altruism, and certainly a time for every one of us to experience and enjoy joy, peace, harmony, love, balance, creativity, abundance in all aspects, not only financial abundance. It is our birthright, if you will. It is the intention, the desire of spirit, God, love, whatever it is that you want to refer to, for every one of us to receive and enjoy these blessings while we are in human form. What is happening now, these experiences, these shifts towards higher levels of consciousness and awareness, again, that's that Aquarius element. Really, it's because the shadow forces, they've served their purpose. They are no longer a part of where it is that we are to progress towards. These experiences, and in this platform, in this video, I'm very limited as to the opportunity to share the full gravity of this understanding. I've shared little tidbits throughout my forecasts. I endeavor to share more information. As I said, what is happening now transcends politics. What's happening now has nothing to do with politics and is very much a spiritual and galactic shift towards higher levels of consciousness. And remember, those shadow forces will not go down without a fight. And the element of love, being in that place of love that is not forceful, which is not aggressive, which is not violent, which is not hateful, that place of pure spiritual love, that is the most effective tool, if you will, for every one of us to really employ so that we might assist in dissolving the darkness that is already being dissolved. We are very much at this turning point. So I do inspire you to embrace these portals of opportunity, to really continue facilitating the creative process of all that you would enjoy to experience. Remember, by you being in a place of joy and a place of love, it's absolutely not a selfish experience. By allowing yourself to really radiate all of that to the outer world, you're very much creating these experiences in the outside world. In these next few weeks, direct your attention towards the light, and the light that is returning to the all of humanity. What I would suggest, if it resonates with you, every morning recite the grand mantra. I'm not going to, I don't know it offhand, so I'm not going to try to say it right now, but most are familiar with the great mantra, and what that is. And I believe the first line states, from the point of light within the mind of God. So I suggest to really If it resonates with you, allow yourself to recite that in the morning, at sunrise if possible. If not, then at the moment of the winter solstice at 5:03, 5:04 a.m., perhaps light a white candle to set this energy in motion. And then again, perhaps at another point of an opportunity, perhaps light another candle at that time of the exactness of the Great Alignment at 1:20 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Also, just after sunset on December 21st, let's all imagine that we have clear skies so that we can see the alignment with Jupiter and Saturn. Excuse me, many are referring to that as the Star of Bethlehem. It certainly will be an extraordinary sight to behold. Also on the winter solstice, and this is something that I endeavor upon every year at the winter solstice, I light a bayberry candle. That practice is set in motion to usher in many blessings for the coming year. And what I do personally at the moment of the winter solstice, what I actually do is I will use 4 glass pillar bayberry candles. Before the exact moment of the solstice, I will charge them with my energy and intentions, specifically for the blessings of abundance in many ways throughout the coming year. So what I do is I will light the first candle at the exact moment of the winter solstice, and each candle burns for about 3 or 4 days. So it's about a 16-day period, and it completes itself on January 6th, which is Little Christmas. It's also the time where we honor La Befana. I've touched upon her a few times, but that will extend this period of creation to usher in the many blessings of the new year. And I will always light the next candle before the one before burns out with the flame of the initial candle. And again, I share this with you, and if it resonates with you, certainly employ this experience. You can please fine-tune it to whatever resonates with you. I always say that I will share with you my knowing, my experiences, but inspire you to recognize what resonates with you. And at the end of December, let me see where it is, on the 29th, we have the last full moon of December. At that point, many of these revelations, awakenings, understandings, higher knowings can certainly be very obvious and very present to many of us. And I also inspire us to recognize how you feel at that time, and knowing your power and recognizing how all that you have created and set in motion in this last year is really coming together for us. I've heard so many stories of many individuals really creating blessings in their lives and experiencing some wonderful things, and it's not to discredit how challenging it has been for some. We never discredit or diminish the challenge of any experience, and we do inspire us to recognize that there's always something greater happening. There's always something going on behind the scenes. There's always an experience that those forces do not want us to recognize. So I do suggest to allow yourself to really honor creating what you have created, what's come to form for you, and allow yourself to really carry that energy into the coming year. So I hope I haven't taken up too much of your time. I know this might have been a little bit longer than I usually speak. Actually, we're almost at 30 minutes. So once again, I offer you gratitude for allowing me this very, very brief moment to share with you some of these insights. I trust it's inspiring you to once again to recognize your power, know your power, embrace your greatest potential, recognize that nothing in the outside world has any power over us unless we allow it to be so. We are very instrumental in creating all that we desire. This is very much a time to return to light. First and foremost, allow yourselves to return to light and see that light within yourselves, and then radiate that light to the all of humanity. Once again, I thank you for this opportunity. I send everyone many, many blessings. Whatever holiday resonates with you, whatever holidays you celebrate, whether it be the solstice, Hanukkah, Christmas, Kwanzaa, whatever that is, it all has a great relevance, especially in bringing the light back out to the world. Once again, I thank you for this time. Enjoy a blessed, safe, and happy holiday season and an abundantly prosperous new year. Many blessings, much love, and namaste.